Assalamu alaikum students, Eid Mubarak. Let's start our studies after Eid again. We had studied up to chapter 4, the Moby before Eid, and after Eid now we are going to study chapter 5. Let's recap some points of chapter 4. You should remind that when they catch a huge whale and then they attack it to the peacock with the strength of 36 people, then that night they take rest and they decide that the next morning they will start cutting the whale and taking blubber or spermaceti from it. Now, uh, getting whale blubber, the initial phase of removal is called cutting in. So cutting in starts the next morning, and Starbuck and Stubb takes the initiative. They takes the first step. They use long spears to cut the way and near fin. Why they cut it for a hook, so that a hook should be put in the hole, and then the other side of the rope of the hook was attached to the main mast, so it was for its hanging. Then, with the full strength of the whole crew, uh, they pull rope to hang the fish. The fish was hung with the full force of the crew. The rope on the other end of the mast was pulled, and the fish went up, and it was hanged there. Then the process of the blubber removal was started. When it was started, so the body was rolled several times for peeling to peel different parts of the blubber. They rolled the body several times. Then they cut this blubber into different into strips. STRIPS, strips, into strips, particular into strips. They cut the blubber into strips, and then when the strips were cut from the whale's body, so they were passed below the deck through a trap door, which is called a blubber room. What was there in the blubber room? In the blubber room, these pieces of blubber, these strips of blubber were put down in a large iron pots, and these large iron pots were called the tripods. So in the tripods, these blubbers pieces were boiled. They were boiled with much heat to extract oil, to get oil from it. Now you should remember, you should remind the tripods when these people come to the Queequeg and the Ishmael, when they reach Nantucket's and they have a night in the inn. The inn name is the tripod. So this was for an attraction to catch the people, to catch these people to their own inn. So the tripods was they are the names of the large iron pots in which the pieces of blubber are boiled with much heat to extract oil from it. After getting oil from it, then this oil is put in the wooden barrels, and in the wooden barrels lid is sealed with wax. उसके ऊपर एक जो लिड जो उसको बंद किया जाता है लिड के साथ, so that was sealed with wax, मोम के साथ उसे बंद कर दिया जाता है. Up this we see that how they get blubber. They got the blubber, they cut it into pieces, they cut into strips, then they pass into the blubber room, and then they boiled it in the large iron pots, which are called the tripods, and then the oil was extracted, and the oil was put in the wooden barrels, and the lid was sealed with the wax so that the oil should not be leaked from these barrels. Well, when all the blubber was sought from the whale's body, so then the fish head was beheaded. The head was cut from the body, and the body was let to float underwater, and the head of the fish was still there in the chains. This head has the head of a huge whale has hundreds of liters spermaceti, and this hundreds of liters spermaceti in the big head, the big whale's head, is sufficient to make rich enough all the crew members on a ship. So this is very attractive for the crew members, and then the task was going to start to extract spermaceti from the head of this whale. Extracting spermaceti is not an easy task, and Starbuck chose Testigo, that he was the most talented person on the crew to start this work, to do this task. Testigo, within no time, went on and sat on a slippery head of fish. Then he started cutting a hole around the spout. Spout means mouth. Around the mouth, he made a hole with the head of the long spear. Then he made hole around the head, and when he made hole around the head, then he saw the spermaceti inside the body. Then he passed on bucket along with the rope inside the head and started pulling up the full buckets full of spermaceti, and he was drawing the buckets, drawing the buckets till 80th or 90th bucket. He was drawing the buckets. When it's the writer is not sure it was 80th bucket or it was 90th bucket. So after 80th or 90th bucket, the Testigo, it seemed that he became tired, and he stood there on the head of that ship. Now, what happens after this? Let's see. Well, research here, an accident happens with Testigo. We see when he stood on the head after 80th or 90th bucket, means he became tired after drawing 80 or 90 buckets. He became much tired. He stood on the head just to take some rest or some satisfaction. So then he suddenly he fell into the fish mouth, and when he fell into the fish mouth, so a panic started among the crew, and Testigo, while trying to come out, got another problem. Testigo was trying back to come out, and he was jumping inside the head to come out. Due to this jumping, the head was the head shook violently, and the chains were broken, and the head fell into water. The chains were broken, the head into water, and within seconds the head disappeared in water. And due to this falling of the head into the water, the ship was nearly overturned, and the sailors knocked off to their feet. When the sailors were knocked off their feet, they were all they were thinking that they all are going to drown. So the whale heads disappeared in water, and then now they were in great surprise and great fear that what happened and how the solution will be brought. Ishmael cried, "Testigo!" So with the Ismail's cry, "Testigo," then we see that other people also come in action. What action then does? Let's see. Assalamu alaikum students. Let's study the last part of chapter 5. When we studied earlier that Testigo fell into the mouth of fish, and then when he was trying to come out, due to this, head shook violently, and the chains were broken, and the head fell into the whale's head fell into water and disappeared into water. Now here a panic started, and Ishmael "Yer, Testigo." Then Dago cried, "Men on board." When I'm listening this, Quick cried, "I'll get him," means I'm going to save him. Now Ishmael dived into water with clutching a sword in his hand. Uh, when he went into water, then people were waiting for them for much time. There was no clue of either harpooner. So again, a tension, a fear arose among the crew, and there was an expectation of a worse situation. So now with the Testigo, the Queequeg also went and drowned. But suddenly Queequeg burst to the surface of water, and he was pulling Testigo with him. So the crew members cheered wildly, and the boat was lowered to get them both on board. Now Ishmael later asked Queequeg how you managed this. Uh, so Ishmael told him that faith and courage. When he asked him, "How did you manage to save him?" Uh, uh, Queequeg replied, "It was very easy. I simply cut a hole in the whale's head and pulled Testigo out." Then Queequeg says some more thing to Ishmael, that, "Remember, Ishmael, this lesson: you can achieve just about anything if you have enough faith and courage." So Ishmael nodded and smiled. So it was the faith and courage of Queequeg which saved the life of Testigo, and he saved himself too in this scene. So this was the last scene of this chapter 5, and we see that the heroic action of Queequeg, due to his faith and courage, saved the life of Testigo and saved the future of this ship, and the mission of this ship was then still going on. Thank you.